Hi guys, welcome to Vibe and Tribe with Eventigo. It's a podcast where we talk about all things related to the event industry, basically knowledge, awareness, how you can make the most out of your event and always get value for money. Always ensure that you celebrate properly, whether it's a corporate event, it's a social event, all things event, all things celebration. And today I have a very important guest. You know, when you enter events, you're like, this event that I'm going to, I'm not really feeling well, but you're like, I cannot disappoint this person. They've invited me, I have to show up. But somewhere in your head, you're like, is there an hospital close by, just in case, you know, something happens to me, right? And we're talking safety events, safety at events. And today we have the pleasure of having the CEO, founder of 8 Medical. You can already see it, 8 Medical, in the person of Dr. Ibukun. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on this podcast.
Yes. Thank you very much. And thank you for the introduction as well. Yes, and like she said, yes, I'm CEO, founder of 8 Medical, and we are, in a nutshell, like a pre-hospital care organization. And what we do is we cater to events, the public generally, and we ensure that people are able to access urgent and emergency care when and where it matters most, right?
Yeah.
Where can be your event center, when can be when you need it at the event, at the due time, where can be your house, where we're able to provide transports or respond to emergencies.
Yeah.
So standbys are not just the only thing we do. Standbys are just events care that is focused to event access that's focused to emergency care that's focused to events. Right? And that's what we have, the ambulance standbys.
Yeah.
But the transports are focused for hospitals, so we deal with all different.
That's what you do, the air
ambulance as well, air lift as well, yes, which would fall under our transport, so ground and air, emergency response, road traffic accidents, tankers that are falling, buildings that have collapsed.
Really?
Yeah, we respond
it's like this person is a baller.
We respond to these emergencies, but then specifically for events, we've decided to bring emergency care to your event. And the best way to bring the emergency care to your event is to be there on standby when the emergency happens. Right? Because it reduces the time for response and increases the chance of you surviving, and reduces the chances of there being a negative publicity or impact at the event. Why? Because we're on standby. Right? So that's what we do in a nutshell, and I'm glad to be here.
Yay! We're excited. On today's episode, we have a lot, and I just want you to sit back, relax, and before you, in fact, stand up. Yes, stand up, and then share this video, share the link, this video with somebody else, because you're going to benefit a whole lot from it. My name is Oluwadara Ilesanmi. I am the CEO of Eventigo. Eventigo is an event management company. We host corporate events, social events, weddings, to ensure that we are able to communicate excellently, because we believe that every event is a communication tool, and then we understand what you want to achieve, and then we draw the roadmap to you getting there safely, to you getting the most out of your money and making the most out of your events. So thank you, and then enjoy.
I had security people pick him up, throw him out. He did not get paid, so you wasted your transport to come?
No, I didn't waste it. You had NS. You know how much is it VSOP?
Thank you.
So you're good, you're covered.
I understand. And that was the end of his event. And it was an example to everybody, you don't do this.
People are going to eat.
You know, somebody had food poisoning after. There was one event, it was very interesting. We had an event in Ibadan, right? And because we go all around the country, right? We're in Ibadan. And people didn't get, why do you need?
Yeah.
It was a birthday. The amount of people that, family of maybe 200, the amount of people, and I kid you not, a quarter of that 200.
Wow.
1/4 of the 200 had food poisoning the next morning. That's when it was time to go to Lagos. Next morning. And I was just looking, because that's when they realized that.
Thank God.
Because we're going from room to room.
Wow.
Okay, you need Imodium. Take this. How do you feel? Baba, okay, you need this. They just run around the hood, helter skelter. One room to another room. One room, please, we need you in room 201. You need this. That's when the work started. Not that day. And that's because like they stayed were there at the beginning of the event, during the event, and after the event.
And so that's even the importance of if you're having those type of events, especially when you have guests coming into that's not their base and they're not going back that same day. You don't just say after the event, thank God though, nothing happened, no evil happened, and everybody.
You know what people's facing? People are facing their houses.
I don't. But I mean, in those situations, they're likely to and maybe they already have their hospitals. They can easily. But I mean, if I go to Imo State, for example, I don't know anybody there. My doctor is not likely to be in Imo State. You get, so maybe HMO. But before I start trying to figure out, please, where is the next available hospital and things like that, it might be. So.
And that's where we come in, alright? Because if you book in Imo State, like the rule here is that before your event starts, we've done all the survey.
Yeah.
Where's your event? Is here. So we know where the closest hospital is. We've spoken to them, we've liaised. Can you do these emergencies? We've spoken about the kind of emergencies that can happen. And we come and communicate this to you at your event. And which is also part of our own checks and balances. So if we have a medic that shows up to your event and does not talk to you about what he has done to allay your flares, this is what I've done. So if you don't have that conversation, that person is in trouble.
Yeah, because it even helps so if there's an emergency, you're able to confidently say, you know what, okay, you calm the guests down, because I mean, when things like this happen, everybody's in panic mode and it just disrupts the whole event, which you don't want to happen as well. So we are officially starting this podcast.
Officially.
All right, great.
What you need to do, what you need to know, how your mind can be at peace as a client, as a guest, to an event space, and then you see an ambulance somewhere, just transfer money to the celebrant or the organizer of the event. That's if it's a social event. But if it's a corporate event, know that they have your best interest at heart, so they have sense. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. And if you not see one, well,
for me, it's half and half what you said now. So the fact there's an ambulance event at the event does not mean when you had an ambulance, there was an ambulance at the event.
Well, true.
So, and that's what people, and this is what I said at Texas, is that there's an ambulance. You don't know better. As a planner, ambulance has showed up. That's the car. Park here. You moved on.
No, but you look at the doc, like, I mean, maybe because we've worked with you.
Yeah.
And from my experience, there's like a brief. So this is where you are parked, and there are certain things that informs where you park, where you are parked. It's not just find a spot to park. So proximity to the space where the event is taking place, and amongst other things, you ensure that that line is always clear. So if there's an emergency, you can easily reverse.
Yeah.
You need to drive out, things like that. So it's not crowded. That particular space is not crowded, and also there's like the event brief. Okay, this is the event and all of that. Some type of guests the clientele were expecting, so that if you have more elderly people, you sort of like prepare. And then we have this hospital is around, this is 5 minutes away, this is 3 minutes away, we've spoken to the doctor, the name of the doctor is this, and things like that. So
so you have to have that, but most planners don't, which is the problem. You just, we have arrived. Okay, where are you? You're parked by the gate. Okay,
and
cool.
Just confirm.
Bye-bye.
But you need to know how many doctors.
Yeah, so even if you know, I give an example. They say how many doctors, they say how many nurses. How can you tell that what they say is what is? If I tell you that Stanley is a doctor,
it just needs this.
Can you tell whether or not she's a doctor?
Yeah.
If I tell you she's a nurse,
and that's where the integrity of the company comes in.
Integrity. When you can wake up tomorrow and start an event planning organization, why can't you wake up tomorrow and start an ambulance organization?
Well, you have ambulance. You just need the
ambulances. You see ambulances with lights, and inside is just a tire. Right? There are events you show up to. There's events I showed up to and look into the ambulance, it's just a tire.
No, serious. No, it's not possible. I don't want to believe that.
And I look at the ambulance. I look at the planner and I'm like, I just laugh.
At
the culprits, the major culprits. I don't know. I used to record it.
Yes, we are recording.
The major culprits are there are people, you get, so like people just because there's no.
What's the point of an ambulance?
Everybody is just looking to cash out.
No.
The question you ask is what's the point of an ambulance? People think the ambulance is just to transport from point A to point B. So to transport from point A to point B, why do I need anything more than a space that you can carry cassava or plantain inside? Why I need more than that? It's not to transport.
No,
How do you transport
but
goods
that's
from
not
one
the
point to
only
the other?
reason for
Yes,
the
but-
ambulance.
So what's the reason?
No, so I mean the ambulance should be able to carry out first aid services.
Yes.
So-
Well, how do you know it can carry out first aid services?
The things in the ambulance now.
What?
For example, there's this long bench. I don't know what the name
Stretcher.
is. Yes, the stretcher. It should have a stretcher. It should have oxygen tank.
Yeah.
It should have some medications.
Okay. What medications?
So I don't
These
know.
are the questions,
Emergency, so paracetamol. I know paracetamol.
Yes.
My pharmacology cannot go to waste.
So,
paracetamol, anti-analgesic. Let me anti-inflammatory
Yeah.
drugs. So yeah, basically.
Yes, but the question will now be like, how are you fact checking or double checking this? So it's part of what we're going to be doing a lot of this year, right? Is that you do your events, the work of the team that is on ground, right? Whether it's marshals or it's the medical team, is to ensure that that is covered, because that's why you paid. So I tell a lot of planners that you didn't pay. Just people think that you pay to have a vendor,
Yeah.
right? You pay a particular food vendor because you know that food is banging.
Yeah.
And that when the host tastes the food, they'll be like, you won. That's well done.
And
well
they won't
done.
come back to say,
They won't come back to
what
say-
happened yesterday? I just noticed that I went to the toilet like five times.
Do you understand? So it's the
I'm not
reason.
sure if it's the water or the food or
Do you get what I'm saying? So question now is, why did you pay this emergency care vendor, right? The vendor too must know that I'm not here just because. And most people is like, I want to collect money. It's about the money.
Yeah.
It's like how many
a
events
bad
can I
thing.
do? Give me money. But the ambulance is not there just because of the money, because it's an intellectual property that they're paying for. They're paying for brain,
Yeah.
your sense,
If not, it's
your
to put
expertise.
bus down now. Down.
It's the expertise. You're paying. You pay security team, right? Not necessarily for their looks. They have to dress properly.
Yeah.
You pay for their brawn, like their muscle.
Yeah.
And
so
the
that
muscle
when
is a deterrent.
when you get there, you know that. I mean,
I'll be myself. If not, they will useless me here. Do you get? And it's a deterrent to
Yeah.
any thugs that want to misbehave. When the thing is high profile, you add mopo,
Extra, yeah.
add military,
yeah.
just in case, because there are dignitaries coming, right? So that
And
if there's
usually
anybody
they
coming
come
in,
with their additional security.
they come with additional
detail.
security. But there are reasons why.
Yeah.
You have last man for a reason. This place is going to be choked up. You need the flow to be moving. Medical is there for what? Do you understand? So if the ambulance is there, why is that? You mentioned stretcher.
Yeah.
So if I come with stretcher, do I pass? No.
No.
If I come with oxygen, how do you know it's oxygen? Did you tell me to open the cylinder?
Yeah.
No. Did any of your staff check that there's oxygen inside?
How do we know that it's
No.
oxygen that is inside?
Just what I'm saying. Exactly.
Because even if you open the tank,
Do you know it's
I will
oxygen?
just.
That's what you mean.
I don't know what oxygen smells like.
There's no smell. But in reality, someone needs to check.
Oh really?
Do you understand? Like,
We're learning
medication
new things.
is there. It's like,
How I sure it has not expired?
are you understanding me? So I'm going to I have this medication. See my first aid kit. What's inside first aid kit? And why are you going to buy one box? Are you telling me that to protect this event? I see events. You have one small rectangular box. This is what you came with. And they're walking around first aid. Are you?
And with first aid jacket.
It's like, what are you
Like-
doing? It's like, to take care of this event, everything can never be inside that box. It's not possible.
True.
Do you understand? So it's like, you see planners, and then, yes, it's nice, a lot of things, and a lot of people have gotten into this space of events, right?
Yeah.
In such a way that you'll be thinking, like, why am I struggling for the same thing now? Because, it's not to bring ambulance, you bought ambulance, nice. But the quality of
The service.
the service that you're delivering. Like, I had one planner who went online, she filled her feedback form, but she still called. She was like, I can't fill this feedback form alone. She called to say, she tried to call, she didn't call, she left a voice note. Said, I want to testify to get to, and I was like, when they forwarded the voice note to me, I was just laughing. I was like, when I tell you people will say, you think that my own is too much, right? But this is somebody that saw the value.
Yeah.
They saw like the value in action. Do you get, like, they even cared for her that day, chief bridesmaids that day as well.
When there's an emergency,
right?
you get to really appreciate.
But it wasn't even that much of an emergency. Like, the planner had been walking up and down, so she was feeling bad and blah blah blah. It is an emergency.
It's not.
because that person is central.
You doctors, you just feel like
Emergency
this is not a big deal.
Yeah.
But to the person, I mean, imagine
serious.
the bride is stooling. Nothing is moving.
Exactly.
Or the chairman of the event
Exactly.
to give his keynote speech just came there, and then it's like, I know I'm here, but can this be virtual? Even virtual, I'm not sure. So I mean,
yes. And she gave glowing remarks, right? And I was like, this is kind of thing like we need to be getting more of.
Yeah.
Jiggers.
I think you need to also put a lot of word out.
Yes, I agree. Like awareness, this is like but it has been a creative way. But we're thinking of creative ways like to put the word out there as to, it's not just about booking events, which is why like speaking at things like Texas, like on this year I'm speaking at any place I can and giving examples, doing presentations with real life scenarios.
Yeah.
If this was in place, this wouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah.
This has happened, this person is dead and gone. Can we learn from the demise of a lot of people
and things to do after? But because usually in Nigeria, and we are using Nigeria because we're in Nigeria and we have a lot of this in Nigeria, but it just feels like after the event, when things like that happen, it's like, and this is generally, sometimes you have, when something happens, it's like, what can we do? We need to prevent this. We need to prevent this.
Initial ginger.
2 weeks max.
Done. That's what I say it all the time. Nigerians have an attention span of 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks max. You want to pay for insurance. They robbed a place. I need to insure all of my property. But you think about it, what is the probability that the thief that came last week will come again? You understand? And they're just like, what's the point of the insurance? Let me leave it until it happens again. Why didn't I do it then? So I mean, we have that, but safety is very.
We have a reactive approach as opposed to proactive to safety.
But I'm very particular about safety at events, and really, it's not because we planned that something bad would happen, but life. This is life, right? And especially when, and regardless of the category of event you are having, so even if it is a children's party. In fact, even children's party is critical. It's very. I wanted to say maybe if you add older people, but I think life is important. Whether you are a newborn or maybe you are 120 years old, life is very important, and it's not something to be joked with.
It's very interesting that you mentioned that, because the event I was telling you about, yes. So the planner was so detailed, right? And I was very impressed, right? There's an event we do for another gas company regularly. They have kiddies events and adults events, so 2 separate days, and they provide like safety. But at this event, there was adults venue, there was kiddies venue, because they're celebrating 1 year old. They just had a child, old age. So celebrating 1 year old party, and the event marquee, the hall, had medical team. Adults had medical team. The kids hall, medical team plus nanny per child.
Wow.
Yeah, they spend money. Nanny per child. So if you're going to toilets, and the nanny and the children had wristbands.
Yeah, so everybody's you can identify each person.
You can identify, right? If you leave the area, there was very, very technologically savvy. The wristbands would alert.
Yeah.
Right.
Before you come back and discover your nanny and child
have gone.
Yeah.
So you can't leave out. So many things, and then you had medical team attached to different zones in the kiddies area. Right. Yeah, it was like a wonderland event. I think that was quite really nice.
Yeah, because I mean, for children, it's very important.
Yes, now. Different demographics come to your event.
Yeah.
Right. But I also mentioned, like, apart from having different demographics of guests, I think, to be honest, planners forget, and I guess because of my safe background, right? As a stakeholder, a planner, right, or a landlord, right? You're not only responsible for your guests and the attendees of the event. Attendees have categories, right? You have your guests, you have your vendors, right? You have the wards of your guests, house help, driver. You have your vendors, you have the security, and you have people that are in and around the environment. The fact that you bring an event to Bamora makes you responsible for what happens outside the Bamora hall.
Yeah.
You're not like called a row. You are not like called people together.
Yeah.
Right? Those ones are going to come around. The area boys are going to come around to come and beg for money. They're going to come around to come and beg for food.
You have to think about your, because it directly impacts on your guests.
Exactly. So I always say all the time that if you're requesting like a medical team, right, there are some people in the medical team that are responsible for those that are not even guests, right? So if something happens outside your guest, we still have to attend.
Yeah.
We can't say that, they didn't pay for that one. They paid for it. It's part
are
of
you
it.
a guest? Say no,
not a guest.
but
Okay.
I'm dying. Say okay, sorry.
Exactly, right. So there's a lot of process.
Yeah, it's actually it's surprising and interesting at the same time that it's a very detailed aspect. And I mean, from the outside, it just feels okay. You booked the medical services based on the number of guests, based on the demography of the guest as well, but maybe not as much detail. And it's nice that you said this. We're going to do a tour of what a proper ambulance looks like, so that you know all those people that I did a video some time back and said personally I've decided that I'm going to give every ambulance the right of way, because you know in the past you said you use ambulance to carry tomato and because there's traffic you just want to move. But I'm like, I'm not going to bother myself with, regardless, it might be a genuine emergency. But now, after we see what is in a proper ambulance, you'll be able to say, this one, nothing. Even if the person is dying, the person is not likely to survive just because the person is in the ambulance, because there's nothing inside. They're not doing nothing. Shishi, it's not inside. So we'll do that. That will be in another video. So do subscribe so that you don't, and turn on notifications so you don't get to miss out on that. So please continue.
Yes, so so generally, like you said, there's a lot of thought and planning that goes into like providing like I usually say like either a medical team or a health and safety team.
Yeah.
Because health and safety is all encompassing. Like,
yes.
Like there's safety to it. The safety is the pre-safety post, but the safety during.
Yeah.
All right. So the pre, like you're assessing the event, like what are the risks. Do like risk assessments, like we always do, like before every event, you must have to do a risk assessment. Because it means that what are the risks and hazards that can happen to an event, at an event. People, equipment, falls from height, trips and falls, carpet that is not tacked, curtain that is beside fireworks, like where your vendors,
exposed wires,
right? So like exposed wires, right? Wires are taped and joined, right? Those things are hazards, but people do it anyways, right? And we don't know this. So if you point it out, true matter is that planners to get tired of people that are pointing out things. Listen. Yeah,
no, because I think from the planner's perspective, and I'm going to say this because, so you have professional vendors, right? And usually professional vendors are slightly, their prices, for the value they give, their prices are fair. But in terms of, I want to eat rice. I'm not looking at the type of rice now. It feels like, why is this one so expensive, right? And sometimes you have clients that maybe they're insisting on particular vendors for whatever reason, right? So sometimes you have to just deal with that. So when planner is like, the planner are probably complained, but really there's nothing, she can't buy socket. Even if you buy the socket and say, okay, you know what, I will fix it for you. They may like, no, we need to join it to this one. And so it's a lot of, so sometimes it's not, the planner too is not happy about it.
Exactly. And there's almost nothing they can really do.
Yeah.
Right. So even when you point out some things, they're like,
it's like you're telling me what I already know, that there's nothing I can do about.
It's like, okay, cool. So in the past, what we used to do is that when we do a pre-assessment, we note, right? Tell you about it. If you want to work on it, nice. If you don't want to work on it, cool. But we submit a report of a pre and post to you. So if anything happened at your event, there's a report that's attached to the assessment.
Yeah.
Right. And we used to do that in past for free. Did you get? But now it's like,
it should be free now.
Now it's like there are two different services.
No,
there's a safety service.
Same one.
No.
Only one.
That's exactly what we used to do in past. But now it's like, that's overstretching. We're giving you too much value, and people don't appreciate the value.
No, they will get to appreciate it.
Yeah, so now maybe we should what is separating it. It's like, if you want an assessment, no problem. If you want to call medical to come and sit down, we'll come and sit down. But you want to do an assessment before your event starts.
Yeah, because that's the whole point of it.
Ideally.
Yeah,
but most people don't, because ideally you don't start planning
show,
for.
you can't have host a show, for example, and say just come when there's an emergency, and then you just see people gathering somewhere. That's when, because I mean, last year we had a lot of shows, 5,000, 10,000 people. How many medical services? People just say, somebody died. Oh, sorry.
But that's even a good question, like you mentioned, like how does the event industry determine the number of medical people you should have? I still say this thing, regardless of how much standard they put in place, it still costs the budget.
Yeah.
If the owner of the event says my budget for medical is 50,000.
No. But you know that one of the things Lagos State is doing now is Lagos State is sort of putting some structure to the fact that, okay, if you have a guest size of this amount, you should be able to do. There's a minimum that you should do. Yes. Although the safety marshals, personally, I don't really get what they are doing, because it feels like Lagos State is using to make money, which I'm not against, because sometimes, I mean,
declare for boys.
You understand? Because you want to come and you're saying you want to guide my event. Okay, what exactly are you doing here? You just wear this and it's just like, okay, so when they are passing, I'll just tell them that we are here. You are not. What service are you providing apart from being present? And then I pay 70,000 plus. That's what I'm saying. So, while I would like to commend Lagos State for that,
it will change.
Hopefully, because at the end of the day, the safety marshals, if I have a guest of say 1,000, I have an event of 1,000 guests, and I say, oh, I need 5 safety marshals. What exactly are they doing? To walk around and say they call my attention to a bottle that fell. The guest will point my attention to it. You understand? So those things are part of the things we need to be able to discuss. So if I'm paying for safety marshals, I know this is the reason why this is their work. I mean, during COVID, it made sense to say you are enforcing the 6-meter spacing and things like that. So the 2-meter spacing, but now
COVID,
yeah,
there's still a lot. So even that, there needs to be education, and that's from the state itself.
Yeah,
it's like the marshals. What do they do? It's like the marshals, are they educated to actually come around and observe and understand what the risks and hazards are, right? Are they really educated? Can they communicate this properly?
Do they even know what they're supposed to look out for?
Exactly, right. And are they able to, like, yes, knowledge. So there's maybe a knowledge gap, right? And also like a communication gap, because like it shouldn't necessarily be just enforcement, because of enforcement.
That's it. Usually the government is on. If you don't do this, this is the repercussion. Because I'm this.
But that's what people listen to.
Yes, but sometimes people actually genuinely, there are people that genuinely want to know. So what value am I getting
from this?
Not just enforcing. And because even with event centers, so typically, regardless of what your budget is, there are event centers in Lagos now that if you don't if you don't get your safety clearance, your event is not going to hold.
Yes.
Because now the government is holding the event centers responsible, exactly. So they pass it out to the client.
Exactly.
But then the client is like, what value am I getting? What is the point of I paid last month because I know that we have a lot of, I paid for this, I paid for that. What exactly is the value I'm getting? But the event center is that they will close us down. I don't want issues. We don't want issues with Lagos State.
Well, to be honest, apart from that, like, do people pay event tax?
They do. To the government.
That's, you did event today, tax yes. On that. Do event tomorrow, yeah. Tax on that.
Yeah.
There's an event tax.
Yes, there's the consumption. There's consumption tax. There's entertainment tax.
Per event.
So usually it's booked from the event space that you book. There's a tax. There's like 20%.
Okay, that means the venue adds it.
Yes.
And so that's the venue that's paying.
No. And the venue will not pay if there's no event.
Okay, so it's per event.
It's per event, yeah.
Consumption tax, okay.
There's a 5%. There is a local government fee. I think that one is a fixed price of 20,000 naira. There are a couple of charges that event centers pay. So it's per event.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's good.
What do you mean that is
it's good? Because I was going to say that it now comes back to the safety space. Yeah. Because in the UK, and I repeat, and I see other conversation today, you cannot do an event without, your event cannot hold without the safety team being aware. Safety medicals.
Yeah.
NHS comes into play. Safety team has done this. It can't hold because you have to get that permit.
Yeah, you need to.
Like,
you even need to get your alcohol permits, all of those things.
Yeah, so it's like Nigeria, we haven't started that. Like we haven't really started that.
No,
like,
we're not yet ready. We're not going to start that.
See, and to be honest, I'm going to be part of people that goes to champion it.
The
It's
alcohol
like,
permit.
Yes, it's
Why?
like
I have my money to buy my
I don't
champagne,
care.
my
For you to drink
NSC,
it,
my
for you to drink,
yes. That
because
is
this
the whole
is
point
what happens.
of
So look at
it.
this. For you to drink that alcohol that you have money to buy it, no problem. Keep it in your boots.
No.
For
My
you to
guests
drink
must
it
know.
within this place,
Yes.
you should get an alcohol permit. Why? Because the moment you start to drink, your level of consciousness decreases,
Well.
which increases the risk of something going wrong at that event.
Well.
So the safety decreases,
Well.
right? So therefore, you need to get a permit. Fair pay for alcohol permit.
Yeah. So what will the permits do?
It's for your permit to bring in
A certain quantity.
a certain quantity of
Yes,
alcohol.
no, I
So
want.
we're permitting
I
you-
want to be able to buy the whole of Lagos and all the alcohol in Lagos Island because I can do so.
No.
And I
Then
need
you
my guests
You now
to-
bring 2 ambulances. You now bring one driver and one medic, and say she come and stay with 1,000 inebriated guests. Do you get? But that's the
Yes,
that's
and then
literally
I will
what
blame
happens.
you for whatever happens.
Thank you.
Because
but
are you
in
not a
reality-
doctor?
But in reality, if you look at it, that's how it should be. And I said to Texa, I said, do you understand why people come? When the whole reason why you get the safety of the medical team is so that if for any reason there is a lawsuit, right? Lawsuit hits the venue. When it's like, I've done my own.
Yeah.
Go and meet, where is the planner? Planner, when he hits the
I've done my
planner,
own.
no, when you know, they'll catch the owner of the event. Mr. Lagbaja is at your event because that's his name that's going to be on Insta blog.
Yeah.
Mr. Okoye of this and this and that. He's going to be like,
Me.
his lawyer is going to be like,
No,
go to the planner.
go to the planner.
Planner is going to be like, go to the venue. Venue is going to be like, it's not me. But guess what? If you have gotten the medical team, safety commission is going to be like, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Now, I has removed from medical, has removed from planner, has removed from this. Now, let's go and face the medical team.
What's went
The
wrong?
medical team, because the liability, I talked about the time, I said that's the advantage of getting a proper team. The liability is meant to shift from your head as a planner
So the
onto.
medical.
So the question is that, do you have a team that is able to carry that liability should the case arise? And there are different ways to carry liability. I carry liability from a financial standpoint. Why? Because as an organization, we have indemnity cover,
Yeah.
right? Which means that like anything that wants to happen, like we're covered. You get any mistake, anything that happen, we have it. How many ambulance companies have it? How many medical people have it? Show me your indemnity. Meaning, if you engage in any malpractice or whatever, you are covered, right? Where is it? Can you show me? So I can cover you in that way that even if I misdo, you are covered by jiggers,
Yes.
like this and that. But otherwise, do you get like what do you have? What insurance do you have? Do you have an insurance as an organization?
Yeah.
Before you come to my event, do you have an insurance as an organization that covers you? The question is no.
Sure.
Do you have a license? The answer is no. Kind of a fact. There are, as of today, there are maybe a lot of ambulance companies, to be honest. Ambulance health safety
Yeah,
companies. Ask them for their license. Try it.
Okay.
As of October last year, there are only 2 accredited ambulance companies in Lagos.
No, I don't believe.
When I say accredited,
Sorry, my second name now is I don't want to say Thomas because I'm not really Thomas, but this thing is like it's hard to believe.
So I didn't even know this until it was said on stage. I attended like a Lagos trauma conference. So there were 2, and me, I knew. I knew that
You had yours.
we're one. So who is second company? Where are you? Me, I knew for sure because I know we went to get the regulatory. And guess what? It's interesting because in Lagos State, these things were not there before. So they might have come up, but nobody knows about, or you need to get a license for this, right? And at the time when you were registering, it was not.
It wasn't a requirement.
Yeah. But the question is that, is the planner going to ask you? And I say it all the time, you say a planner.
Does the planner know
The planner
that
doesn't
you're
know,
supposed to have a license? Because it's assumed, certain things are assumed.
At the end of the day, like, it's like, no matter what you want to do, everybody wants to chop. Look, we have general revenue. We're not here for free to get like, wow, we're running, planning businesses because we want to make money.
Yeah.
Do you get like
Well, we offer value.
doing work to make money? Do you get like Lagos State needs to generate revenue, do whatever needs to be done, right? But
For the safety of
the populace, of
the
people.
populace, yeah.
Do you get like, because why are people dying because you want to drink and make merry and be happy? Like, why must somebody die? If you think about it, you're a murderer.
We don't take those things serious.
No,
we don't take it literally.
No, I promise you.
It's just the fact that you leave that to the conscience of the organizers or the people. To be like,
Organizer does not have anything in their conscience. It's the person that maybe planned the event and maybe I invited Lagbaja here and the person died. The issue matter, it might not be because of you that Lagbaja died. Maybe it was that day when Lagbaja was meant to die. It's possible. But you put everything in place
to ensure that we tried, we did our best.
Do you get?
Yeah, like, but it was just his time.
It was just his time. But things had to put in place for that to happen.
Sure.
Just so there's so much. There's so much like that has to be put in place for the space to pick up. Do you get? But there's so much we're already doing. Do you get?
Yeah, there's so much
partnerships with people, organizations. Do you get like APM, yourselves, like the podcast, raise awareness. Awareness is, I always say, awareness is key.
Yeah, it's key.
Like you can put a regulation in place.
About it, it's as good as useless.
I say it all the time. Exactly. Like you can't use something you don't know.
Yeah.
I can't use a venue I'm not aware of. When the venues pop up, first thing they do, publicity.
Yeah.
We're here. That's when you see the Instagram. You get after 6 months, once they now stop.
They don't stop. They see 1 year you are going to 2024.
Exactly. And that's when
July. Yeah, like
that's how they posted.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like awareness is key to anything we want to do.
Yeah.
Right. In this space. So, but I think we're almost there. Not that we're almost there. We're just getting started actually.
Yeah, but there's a lot we've done, and there's a lot we will do, and I'm really particularly excited for APM. The positioning APM is taking in the industry as well, such that we're able to all of these conversations and other things would definitely pop up, and to be at the end of the day be like, I'm a proud APM member, this like that, especially I mean with the amount of work that we've done, and then the government will be able to like, wait, we can't really do anything in this event space without
this private-public partnership.
Yes, it's very key.
Yeah, if you hear an association that is big enough, like you need to now connect them with government, come together, and let's make this space work.
Yeah, exactly. Because we know the inroads.
Yeah.
And then of course we need the government
to enable.
Yes.
I always say this all the time. I say private sector implements, government enables.
Yeah, because one policy from the government can basically destroy everything that we are trying to achieve. So it's been great speaking with you.
Yeah.